I'm Kathleen, and today Larry and I are here with Brian Fisher. Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Brian.
Great
Hi.
to see you.
Nice suntan.
Nice
Oh,
suntan.
I think it's just the lighting in my house.
Oh,
I want that lighting.
me too.
So I know you're in the midst of school beginning and all that, and so we're glad that you were able to have some fun Zoom time with us today.
Me
Oh,
too.
my
Me too. It's nice to take a break from all the schoolwork.
Right.
Trust me.
Oh my gosh. We won't ask you, well, we are going to ask you questions. I was going to say, we're not going to be like your students and ask you questions, but yes, we are. So, okay.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah. Yeah. Can I get water?
Well, on online school now, the kids don't have to do that. They just get up and leave, and I have no clue. You know what I mean? I can't see them, so.
No more
That's
snow
hysterical.
days.
Yeah. No more snow days, right?
That's really fun. I remember I taught a bunch of camps, Zoom camps over the summer, and teaching drama is hard on Zoom, but the one great thing was there were no behavior problems because they weren't in the room. So whatever.
Well, I should be so lucky.
Right, I know. I'm sorry. So I always try to think, when did we meet? And correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
but I think we met when you came to audition for Snoopy. Is that correct?
That is right. Yes, that is when we actually met formally. I may have seen you.
Right, yeah. Well, I had
But,
seen
yeah,
you on
yeah.
stage because you had just been in what?
Spanish?
Cabaret.
Cabaret.
Cabaret, and I remember you and Mark Ridenauer in Cabaret and being amazing, but coming to audition for a kid's show and just looking at you like, "Oh, how could I ever put them in a kid's show?" They were so like sensual on stage, and I don't know, it was so funny. But then, of course, you were perfect. So,
Oh,
you know.
well, you saw me in Cabaret when I did that really raunchy number. Two Ladies? I don't remember, but all I know is it was pretty raunchy. But
yeah.
The audition was when it was in the lobby.
Yep, it was.
Mhm.
And Larry, I don't know that I told you the story, but when Brian had put down he would take any role but not Snoopy. So this was going into the callback, so I was like, I wonder why he doesn't want to be Snoopy. So I emailed him and I said, please know that if we'll go for Snoopy, you won't have to wear like a furry costume. Your face won't be like totally painted. It'll just be very, little effects of a dog. And what did you say, Brian? You said, I just wore fishnets, a dress, like it goes, that's not it. Don't worry about it. It's not the question.
Yeah.
I played Woodstock when I was probably about 23,
Oh,
and just a yellow jumpsuit and stuff.
that's hysterical. Brian and Larry, when did you meet?
I think I saw you during Snoopy, but I don't think we actually officially met until you came to see one of Kathleen's shows. We all went on that.
I think you're right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, well, very fun. Very fun.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, but
go ahead.
Kathleen, you didn't say why I didn't want to play Snoopy. It wasn't because of the costume.
It was because you didn't want to have to be that big, huge personality, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we gave it to Mark, who already
think I
had a
said-
big personality.
I think I said I'm not showy enough.
I'm not showy enough.
Something really lame like
I
that.
love that. That's great.
I just remember, and I'll make it quick, I played Woodstock, and this is down in Wilmington, and we took a break, and I came back with a milkshake, and they said, you can't drink milk. It messes up your singing voice. I said, Woodstock doesn't sing.
Does he even
Good
talk?
point.
I don't know.
No, I just,
Mm-mm. No.
That's hysterical. I want to see a picture of that.
we have in black and white. So.
Okay.
Before, they didn't have color back then.
Oh, yeah, there we go. So Brian, tell us, when did you start acting? When did you start getting into theater?
Technically, it was in high school. In my sophomore year, the drama teacher asked me to audition for Once Upon a Mattress, and I played Prince Dauntless.
Yeah.
I was mortified because I had to wear tights, and a 10th grade boy, it was like, ah. So he had to talk me off that ledge. But for real, like that was just like you do extracurricular activities. So I wasn't really into theater as much until I was out of college, and many years after college, not many, but I can't even remember how many years, like maybe 5 or 6 after I graduated from college, I was living in a very, very small town, and I saw an audition notice for Godspell. And when I was a kid, I had seen the movie of Godspell on TV back when they used to show movies on TV, and I was just fascinated with it. It was like I didn't realize I was seeing theater, and then I actually saw a community theater production of Godspell that my parents had taken me to, I think. And we never had community theater where I grew up. I mean, it was a tiny little town. And so seeing something like that was like, I was fascinated, but I wasn't into doing it. I just was fascinated by, and it just happened to be this, Godspell both times. And so I saw this audition notice back when they used to, I'm going to age myself here, but back when they used to put like an audition notice in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't like an online,
that.
Facebook post. It was literally like you saw it when you were flipping, to the classifieds in the newspaper.
I love it.
And so I saw this ad for auditions for Godspell, and I was just like, oh gosh, I should go try out. I had no theater experience or anything, and I was just like a guy living in a, wearing my suit and going to work every day. But so I decided I was going to go audition for the show, and it was about a half an hour away. You've probably heard this story a million times, Kathleen, but it was about a half an hour away. I drove to this audition. I had no clue. Like, I was just some guy. And so I drove in with my little song in hand, and I got to the theater, and I sat in my car and I watched all the people going in, and I said, I can't do this. This was a dumb idea. So boom, I didn't even get out of the car. And then I sat there, that was a Tuesday, and then I sat there all day Wednesday at my boring job going, why didn't I go in? So I went back the next night, and I went in and real timid, and the girl checking everybody in was like, you should, and I was like, I'm really nervous. And she's like, you should do it. And she paired me up with this girl, and said, sit next to her. She's super nice. Sit next to her. And it was back in the day. Probably lots of people still do it, but it was back when they used to audition you right on stage in front of everyone who was auditioning. Right. You know what I mean? It wasn't a private audition. Yeah. It was like, if there's 50 people there, you're auditioning in front of all 50 of them. And as a person who's never auditioned, I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, okay, I got my little sheet. I'll sing a song for y'all, And I went up and did it, but I was one of the last people that auditioned. So I had to sit there the whole time and be nervous. And this girl was really sweet, and she was really nice. And she ended up getting cast. And I'm still friends with her to this day. In fact, a card from her in the mail about 3 days ago. But and so then I got it. And it was also back in the day when they used to call you and say, I would like you to come to sit next to your phone and just, I hope someone calls me tonight, like that's how antiquated it seems now. But and so the director called me. I had a call back, and I was so nervous for the call back, and I went and did that, and then I just waited and waited. And then this director was notorious for making you wait a week to find out. And I would sit by the phone every night, and I had an answering machine, and I'd come home and immediately check it, with the little cassette in it. Right. Anyway, that was a really super long story to say when I got in theater, but I got cast in Godspell. That was my first show as an adult.
That was my question. What was your first show? So it was Godspell.
Yeah. It was also my last show, my first show and my last show. So.
Wow.
Because I just did Godspell a few years ago at TIP. So.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, when I first auditioned at Raleigh Little Theater, I also found out about it in a newspaper, but they didn't call you. You had to call the office and then say, is my name on the list? No. Like, it was awful. So you could either do that or as I did, drove 20 minutes to Raleigh to look at the door so I could see it. I wore sunglasses and a hat so no one would know who I was. So if you didn't get cast, you didn't feel badly. You know?
I would call, could you give me the cast list for so-and-so? Yeah, Larry, hold on.
So you can't use the same voice for auditions that you used to call in.
Yeah,
So,
Larry.
yeah.
So
I'm calling
Brian,
for a friend.
oh yeah, really. Brian, did you have a mentor? Like at all during your career as an actor? Like, did anybody ever, you know?
No, not really.
How about somebody who gave you amazing advice? Besides me, but I mean, no.
Besides you, yes, of course. I mean, directors, yeah, sure. I've had many, great heart-to-hearts and conversations with directors where they've given me advice. But the way I really try to learn is because I'm likes to do it, and so I watch people and I just try to look and see why is that person so this moment really good right now, and then I try to go, what are they, what was it, and I try to remember that. That's why I feel like this is going to sound really snotty, but I feel like you can't learn how to do theater unless you watch theater. You know what I mean? Like you've got to watch and absorb as much as you can so that you can actually learn how to do it better.
Absolutely.
And so my mentors are everybody I've ever watched, probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Good and bad. I mean, you can learn from bad as well, but you got to look at it and go, why? Not just, wow, that was really awesome and I loved that performance, but why did I love that performance? What was it about it?
Right.
That sounds lame, but that's
no, it's
yeah.
It's always truth, and I feel like they're being truthful.
Yeah. So I don't really think I've had a mentor. Lots of people have given me great advice because I need, I often beg for it. I'll say, tell me. And when you don't get anything, you're like, oh gosh, please help me.
I agree though, because I think that would be my answer as well. Like I didn't have one mentor, but everybody you work with is shaping you.
Yeah.
But you might be like me. I'm so eager and passionate that I think sometimes people feel like he must be a new person because he's so eager and so passionate and he's so curious. He must just be starting off. I'm not cocky. I don't walk around and say, oh yeah, I've been doing this for 30 years,
That's not what I've heard, Larry.
I know. But then what happens is after you do them for 30 years, then you have the person who's never acted to come up and start giving you notes. Like, well, I have been doing this. This is not my first play.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite theater or film actor?
Well, you know what? I'm really drawn. This is so cheesy, but I'm really drawn to awesome tenors, musical theater tenors. Yeah. Like, not so much the acting aspect of it, but is like a really, I'm a tenor wannabe. Like, I just really want to sing like those guys. And so like Matt Doyle and Aaron Tveit, Gavin Creel, these guys that I listen to them and go, oh gosh, I want to sing like that. You know what I mean? Right. But as far as acting, I would, this is a weird answer, but I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus is just an incredible actress. I just think the woman, her comedic timing, just, you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm supposed to say someone that's like, an actor, you know what I mean? Like Meryl Streep or, Dame Judi Dench or something. I don't know. I'm just saying people.
Yeah. No, we've had lots of different replies. So that's great.
Yeah. Jeff Daniels has been coming up a lot.
Mm-hmm. Who's that?
Jeff Daniels comes up a lot.
Oh yeah. I saw him in To Kill a Mockingbird. Am I thinking right?
Yeah, that's right.
Gosh. Is that the one?
Yep.
Anyway, and I mean, it was incredible. I mean, you're like in awe, but yeah. Anyway.
He's never won a Canty though.
No.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Brian, what happened at your worst audition? Have a worst audition story you'll share?
Of course. Why not?
Okay.
I'm not proud. Have you met me? Well, the easy answer is that, any audition where they ask me to dance is the worst audition. So I've had
That's
a
true.
lot of them.
That's
No,
true.
I would say, way back when I used to live upstate New York. So I went in and I sang Joanna from Sweeney Todd. And I couldn't remember a freaking lyric to the entire song. Like I literally started singing and it was just like, I have no clue. It was such a misstep. I was like, I'm just going to go back to the old shtick.
Right?
I mean, it was so awful, but thank God they knew me. It's like sometimes that helps.
Right.
I know
Yes.
sometimes you go into auditions, you go, oh, these people have been here so many times. I'm not going to get in because they already know them. But this was one time when I was on the other side of that, and I was like, thank God they know what I can
Right.
do, because
Right.
if they had never met me, they would have been like, who is this schmuck? Like,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it was a disaster. I mean, it was embarrassing. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have a favorite show you're in? And can you tell us why?
A favorite show that I've ever been in?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I have a lot, but I will say Pippin. I mean, it's just hands down Pippin.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's an odd choice, but I was so like I really wanted to play Pippin sometime, and it was like nothing I've ever played before personally. You know what I mean? Like I had such a connection to the character. I loved the show already. It's a tenor singing role, so I was like in heaven. But at the time in my life, I mean, I used to be a banker. I audited banks, which is a god awful job. I hope nobody listening to this is a bank auditor. But for me personally, it was a god awful job. There was a point when I just was like, I'm done with banking. I can't do this another day. And I wanted to do something that meant something. I wanted to do something that was more, that had a purpose and meant more.
Sure.
And so I had always wanted to be a teacher. I denied it because, teachers didn't make any money and I was money.
You could do actors though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I just, I have to be a teacher. It was just like, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I quit my banking job. I went back to college again as an adult with, classes with kids. And at the same time was when this audition notice came out for Pippin. Now I was in college trying to get, a degree to teach. And I said, I can't pass up my one opportunity to do Pippin. So I auditioned. And so I was juggling both of these at the same time, like following my passion to change my career and do something that meant something in my life and playing a role that I felt like was kind of a parallel universe to what I was going through as an adult.
Wow.
And so in my favorite show, so it was kind of like, and so that to me has always been like, that is the one theater experience that is, my favorite.
Amazing.
Of all. But I've done other shows that like Little Shop. I love Little Shop. Playing Seymour was, heaven.
You were
for me.
so good in that.
Well, thank
So
you.
good.
And I got to do Jack, which was another dream role. And I did Forever Plaid. I played Sparky in Forever Plaid, which was another one that I just loved.
Oh, yeah.
So I've gotten to do show roles that I absolutely love, but Pippin was, on another level for me.
Is there another role you really want to play? You haven't done yet?
Well, I mean, this is a hard question because, I mean, obviously, short bald man, and so that's more of a punchline in most situations. People hire you as you're the punchline.
Yeah,
tell the short guy. You know what I mean? It's not like there's people out there looking for a short, older, bald man to play the lead. So there's not many roles left for me to play.
Oh my goodness.
I suppose, like I said, I played Jack, I played Seymour, I played Pippin, dream roles. Perhaps maybe Marvin in Falsettos. I've always been drawn to that role, even though I'm not really, I don't really have a lot of life experience that relates to that, but I kind of like his arc and I kind of like the character, even though he's kind of a louse. He's, anyway. but no, I guess I don't have a lot. I guess I'm destined now to just play, if there's ever a, the old guy who helps out the main character,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And sings a really boring ballad in Act 2, I'm that guy now.
Stop.
I'm so
Stop.
weird.
Sometimes those guys are the fun guys, though.
Yeah. I guess it's all depend. There's no small rules, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you're on stage, what is the type of actor you hope is on there with you?
Oh, like most of the people I've worked with in Raleigh. But anyway, the real answer, I like people that are, I know some people think this is boring and it's not really acting, but I like people that are consistent. You know what I mean? I like constantly going, okay, I hope I don't screw it up for everyone else, and so if you have consistency, that leaves less of that,
Right.
potential for me to screw up. But I also I think it's kind of hearkening, is that a word?
Yeah.
Back to what Larry was saying earlier about, I like people that when you're working with them, regardless of their experience and regardless of how good they are at this, that they don't treat you like that, or that they understand that not everybody is that. And, when you're working in community theater, you've got, lots of levels of people on stage with you. And I think I most respect, and I probably have the best experience when I'm working with somebody that understands what I'm capable of and what my, and I'm going to try to bring it. I'm not going to go, okay, I'm going to be a doofus. No, I'm going to try to do the best job I can do too. But if you're with somebody that just, is too in their own mind to accept that and deal with it, then, I don't want that. But I'm lucky because most people aren't like that.
Right.
Rarely come across someone that you're working with that doesn't get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
They've met you, they understand. And I usually go into a show so nervous. I mean, you've worked with me. I'm like, a wreck. I always feel like I'm a fraud and everybody's going to figure it out sooner or later.
Are you sure we're not related?
Right. You're
It's
Larry.
I'm just waiting for that other shoe to drop. Every time someone casts me in a show, I'm like, they're gonna figure it out before rehearsals are over. That, wait, this guy's a fraud. Why did we cast him? What were we thinking? So that's the insecurity, of course, but
Right.
you want to feel comfortable on stage and hope that nobody treats you that way. You know what I mean? And I also understand that it's nobody's job to make me feel better on stage.
Right.
That's not their job. Their job is to do what they were, cast to do. But
Right.
Does
But
that make sense?
I feel like when you are actors on a stage together, you are equals at that moment, no matter if this guy had 20 years experience and this guy had none. You are there both doing a job for the director, for the playwright.
Yeah,
You're telling the story. So
yes.
I go off stage and say, I didn't screw up.
I know, isn't it?
That's a great feeling.
When people ask you, how you can do this and stuff, and you sometimes sit back and go, I don't know how I can do this. Get up and hope that nothing goes wrong.
Yes.
I mean, it's
Like we're athletes, basically,
Yeah.
We all have great moments on stage. Can you tell us some of your great moments? I mean,
Well, yeah. Personally great, not from the audience's perspective.
Right.
I would say, well, I'm going to go back to Pippin. There was a couple of moments in Pippin when it just was, I was living it. I was living that role.
Right.
And so to be on stage and actually sing the lyrics and say some of those lines, and it was like, audience, you don't realize this, but this is literally my life right now, and this is me. So this is not me just playing the role. This is me. I'm living this, and corner of the sky, duh, that sounds so cliche, but it really was me. Morning Glow, I don't know if you're familiar with that song, but whenever I sang Morning Glow, for some reason, I just I don't know why. It just
So great.
It sounds weird, but sometimes you get that feeling inside that it's just like everything inside is just all butterfly-y and everything. Right. You know what I mean? And that's how doing that. And there's some moments in Little Shop that as Seymour that I felt that too. You know what I mean? Like, I view myself as a little bit of a Seymour many times, and I know that's like people go, oh, of course you do, but it's deeper than that. You know what I mean?
No.
But in Little Shop, when I sang lyrics or I did things where other characters treated you a certain way, that I was like, this is really how it is. You know what I mean? In real life sometimes. And I think everybody's perspective of how they're treated sometimes is a little warped by your own,
Right.
your own vision of yourself. But
That's great.
I guess that, but to answer your question, Larry, yeah, there's moments like that where it goes beyond just performing and just singing or just saying a line and you're really like living it. It's deeper than that.
Super connected to that character.
Yes. And I'm sure really good actors, they can probably find moments in every role they play that are like that, But for me, it was, just a few times that I could, wow, But don't tell my directors that. Let them think that it's always that way.
I know.
Well, what is the funniest thing that ever went wrong on the stage when you were on it? Do you have
when I
one?
was on? Okay.
Or not?
Well, I've had a few costume things where, costumes start to fall off. That never happened in Rocky Horror.
Oh my.
But
Wow.
I was in a show. I actually wasn't involved in this as one of the actors. I was in the show. But we did this show. I don't know if you know the show. It's called Something's Afoot. And it's kind of like an Agatha Christie
Something's
knockoff.
afoot.
Yeah, so you know the show. Okay.
Yes.
So did I. So who did you play, Larry?
Lint.
Remind me.
Lint, the caretaker. I've got a teeny little dinghy.
Oh, okay. Yes.
That's when I found out I couldn't. Another time I found out I could not sing.
Yes. Okay. I know that role. I played the really the really lame guy that was an alcoholic. And he sang the Tanqueray song, whatever it was. He was like the nephew or something. He was a real ass. Can I say that on your show?
Yeah, that's okay.
Anyway, so
The romantic lead.
no, he wasn't romantic at all. He was just a jerk.
He was a snob, right?
He was a snob. Yeah, he had a tuxedo on and he drank. And he
I
was
remember
always
that guy.
snobbing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he got
It
hit
was
over.
back in I did in 1943, so it's,
Yeah.
Musical theater back then.
I know. It was
It was
all black and white.
Yeah, it was all
Yeah.
that still. Yeah. So wow, bring it around. You guys are good. So anyway, there's this female detective, and there's the romantic lead. So there's the ingenue and the young guy, and so end of the show. I hope I'm not spoiling this great show for anyone, but towards the end of the show, the twist, the detective who's like a Miss Marple character, she died. If I'm remembering this correctly, she dies, but she's in a chair. In our production, she was in a chair, right? So this woman died, and they're supposed to get her off stage in the chair. So these two, ingenue and the little guy that was playing the male ingenue role, they have to push her off stage. And this woman was, oh my God, I love this woman. She played my mother in Into the Woods. So I adore this woman who's playing this character, but she was in this chair, and she was just heavy enough that they could not, this particular night, for some reason, the chair was stuck and they could not get the chair to move. So they kept pushing and struggling, and the audience is just sitting going, what the hell is happening? Like, they don't know that this isn't part of the show. So after it goes on and on, they tugged on her, and she fell out of the chair because she's pretending she's dead. So she falls. Now she's on the floor, and they're like, oh my God, we have to drag her. So they took her arms and they literally started dragging her. They got almost off stage, and she got stuck on something on stage, and finally just started crawling off stage. Like, at this point, it was like, there's nothing left to do except to just crawl off stage. And the same show, Butler dies in an explosion on the stairs, I guess. And the very last performance, whoever was on the flash pot decided, well, we got this much powder left, and we're going to use it all. So last show. use the rest of it. It's the last show anyway. Oh my God. It was such an explosion. The fire alarms went off. They had to clear the building. We all were in the parking lot. I mean, this happened to probably every community theater at least once. But
Right.
we're all in the parking lot waiting for the fire trucks to come and clear it so we can go back in and pick up where
Wow.
we left off.
Wow.
Same
Oh my-
show.
Yeah.
My stories are very long-winded. I feel like
I
Oh,
actually
they're
remember.
hysterical.
I actually remember in Something's Afoot. There was supposed to be a bass at Falls, and they forgot to set it, and I had to come back out in character and just like.
Yeah, mine was a candlestick that was on like a sconce that was on the wall,
Yeah.
and it comes down and hits you on the head.
That was. I think that was a prop. Yeah, it was supposed to fall. So maybe it was.
Yeah, it's on,
Yeah.
and you had to make sure you're in the exact right spot, but not too close so you don't get hit in the head. Right. And oh God, the song ended on a long high
That's right.
G or A or some really unreasonable note to be singing at the end of a song till the candlestick hits you, and then you can stop singing.
Oh.
So I was like, just please somebody make sure you don't miss that cue, because I cannot hold this note for much longer.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, if you couldn't be an actor, what else would you want to do in theater?
Well, first of all, if I couldn't be an actor. You're very kind, Larry. You're very kind. You know, I have directed. I directed back when I lived upstate at a local high school. My brother and I directed together, and a friend of ours. So I've done that. That's fun. I loved it. I've played in the pits. I've played in the pit orchestra for many shows because in the day I was an alto sax player.
Oh,
I got lots of gigs playing in my alto sax and pit, but I really love the design elements, you know, set. I'm fascinated by set design. I think those people are amazing. When you see a brilliant set design, you go, I just am in awe. It's amazing. Right. And I can't sew to save my life. Could not sew to save my life. If you said, Brian, sew something or die, I would be like, oh, but I love costume design too. I'm also fascinated by that, you know, and lighting design. I mean, it's all the design elements are brilliant. Yeah. You know, like how do they do that?
And you're already a writer. Like you write.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I write cheesy stuff, but yeah, I do write.
No.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what advice would you tell yourself?
Oh gosh, I would say don't be so inhibited. You know, like when I first started, I was so afraid of how I would look and how I would, you know, what people would think, and it, you know, like. It's so dumb. It's so dumb because you're acting, you know, it isn't really you. Right. But I can't imagine how much better some of my earlier stuff would have been if I had just said, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Just do it and be uninhibited. Yeah. Just say the lines. Don't try to say the lines, just say them, or, you know, just move your body. Don't be so worried about how you look and, oh, I might look foolish. And, you know what I mean? Like that was a big stumbling block for me when I first started out, was really feel like I was that bad, you know, but I imagine I could have been better, you know? And also at the time I was so nervous about what people thought that I also wasn't absorbing as much as I should have. It wasn't until later when I started going, okay, do this more often. So really, really start to try to learn. Right. You know, at first I thought it was just a fluke. I just wanted to do Godspell. I just that show. And then like anybody, you get that bug immediately. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do anything else. You know what I mean? And so the I did was Into the Woods. Way too old to play Jack, but people bought it, I guess.
You might have been too old to play Charlie Brown too. I mean, you know, just saying.
Kathleen, I'm pretty much sure I'm too old to play every role I've played almost. But anyway, you know, maybe Patsy. I don't know how old Patsy's supposed to be, but a lot of roles I'm too old to play them. But anyway, but anyway, I was hooked. I mean, I was absolutely hooked. You know, it's like anybody. Like I tell kids at school, that, when musical auditions are coming up at school, I'm like, trust me, like, you guys don't understand, but trust me, go try out and you're going to be
Right.
hooked,
Right.
I still dream that I'm doing West Side Story. I did it when I was like 24.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a dream like once or twice a year that I'm in the show. I'm saying, they're not going to believe this. that I'm playing action, a West Side Story. The wig does not going to work.
Exactly. Well, I remember when one night when we were doing Snoopy, we had a talk back after the show. I don't know why, but and somebody asked Brian about shaving his head to play Charlie Brown, and he said that the director made him do it, and I was it was hysterical. It was great.
I guess people thought I really shaved my head for a role.
I love that.
Which I guess I probably.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
Oh, that's good,
in
Kathleen.
2004.
When people say, "Hey, you lost some hair," I said, "No, Kathleen makes me shave it."
There you go. You can blame me.
No,
It's
she
okay.
just tells me to shave it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
She made me shave it for the audition, Larry.
Oh, come on.
That's how committed I was to getting the role for Kathleen, right?
We were doing a show, and I was going to wear a wig, and then Kathleen decided not to because she's afraid I do a lot of falling that was going to come off during the middle of the show.
Yes, that was a good decision.
What's the first thing you want to do, Brian, when we get out of this pandemic and we go back to a semi-normal life?
Oh, gosh.
I know.
I mean, Kathleen, you know this. I go to New York and see Broadway shows several times a year, and oh my gosh, it's just breaking my heart. I mean, obviously locally, it's breaking my heart that we're also not doing theater locally. I mean, but I just, the highlight, I just look forward to seeing my New York trips and seeing shows, and they refunded all my tickets, of course, but it was just like, oh gosh, I was still holding out hope until the last, oh gosh, I just want to get back to New York. I mean, I just love it. There's just something about it. I just can't describe it. It's just, I'm rarely happier than when you're sitting in the theater. You know what I mean? Like watching a show. There's very few things that can make me as happy as that,
Yeah.
But, and also locally, I mean, that's also breaking my heart, you know? And also, it's not just the theater, it's the community. I'm not seeing these people, and I'm not interacting with all these people that I love, It's like, I miss them, even if I'm just seeing them on stage and like getting 1 minute with them after a show in the lobby, you know what I mean? I'm missing that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is it the same for you guys? How would you answer that question?
Yeah, well, the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty busy at work, so I'm not missing theater too much, but I do see every time I hear somebody's doing a show, it's like, oh, I could have done that. Gus is doing 39 Steps down in Southern Pines, where I grew up.
Oh, yeah, I know Southern Pines. Yep.
Yeah.
I have a friend who lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gus is doing 39 Steps?
Yep. In Southern Pines. I think it opens in a week or two or stuff.
And they'll have a real audience?
I heard that what I heard from Chris Brown is they're going to be outside in the parking lot, but I didn't hear directly from Gus. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, we all look forward to when theater can come back,
Yeah, we'll be playing Old Men again, right?
Yeah. You know what? Please let me clarify that I'm not trying to sound bitter in any way. I'm realistic, so it's not bitterness. It's more realistic. You know what I mean? But there's so many people that deserve to do shows, so it's like there's just not enough to go around. You know what I mean?
I have this memory from years ago. I was like 23, and we're going to do Bus Stop, and I knew that the director wanted me to audition for Bo. And I knew she had another actress in mind, and I had not, for Sherry, and I had not met her, but I saw her at the gym, and I said, my gosh, she looks taller than me. So I tried to stand beside her without her noticing me to see if I was taller, and she was taller than me. I went, dang it. But then they cast a shorter actress. So.
Oh, there you go. That's because you were so great. They decided to just cast someone shorter than you. Yeah. I love that.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian, it's so great to see your face.
Oh, well, thank you. It's so good to be here.
Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah.
Well, I'm flattered and asked me.
We always enjoyed chatting, and especially when, I've been part of your life a little, you know what I mean? To hear those stories and relive
Yes.
all that. It's
Yes.
very,
She's like, I've heard them a billion times.
not at all. Not at all. But thank you. Thank you for joining
you.
us.
Oh, thank you for having
I look forward to meeting you locally somewhere and, yeah. Thanks.
When? Sometime, right?
Sometime.
Eventually.
I know. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.